Hello and welcome back to the one and only Speculation Hour. It's your boy A-Bomb here, and of course with me as always is my brother from another mother, Crypto Dilly. What's going on, my man?
Not a lot, man. Ready to get into some new topics. Talk a little bit about maybe, our Speculation Alley drop that people are getting this week.
Yeah, we're jumping straight into a bit of a new subject, Artifact, and what they just dropped, some of the tech that they used to go along with it. I don't know if you want to, since you're wearing the shirt, I feel like you should be the guy to tell us about that.
Yeah, so obviously recently the Artifact Air Force Ones finally got delivered. I was fortunate enough to buy a couple pairs. I got the human, which is one of my favorites, and then also the robot sneaker. The shoes, they all came with NFC chips to authenticate the actual shoe itself. To kind of speak on that, obviously, NFC chips are near frequency chips built into different products to authenticate the authenticity of the item. So knowing that it came directly from the manufacturer and it's not a knockoff, that's kind of the future of all high-end apparel brands, in my opinion. We're seeing it with, obviously, Nike's doing it. You have Adidas, you have Puma, you have all these different big brands, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, anyone that obviously values their brand identity. I think all of them will obviously utilize this technology. But that being said, what we wanted to get into today is more about the speculation of where is this technology headed? What direction do we see the NFC chips having a role in the way that the future of the blockchain products with brands, how does that fit in? And what do you think, A-Bomb, as far as what it's going to be used for?
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, authentication seems like a no-brainer, right? Because you have a lot of major brands that don't want their items to be knocked off, essentially. So it would just inherently make sense for them to do so. And I think that users, aka buyers, would also appreciate that fact as well, that you wouldn't have to then send something into, an authenticator themselves. Like if you're trying to sell some Air Force Ones online on eBay, you have to get those confirmed that they are what they are by eBay. So I feel like it sort of cuts out a lot of middlemen, which is nice. Where also goes, I'm wondering, because I doubt that it's going to go into big stores. That's kind of what we were talking about behind the scenes a little bit. Like, I don't think Walmart items are going to really need any NFC chips, but it doesn't stop one to wonder, where could they lead to, and what sort of tech could be also maybe built on top of the NFC chip itself.
I mean, I definitely think low-end apparel is not going to be, it's not necessary for them to have authentication. But I mean, as far as the chips themselves for the high-end brands, I think of like what utility they could utilize the tech. And one thing that comes to mind that you mentioned is, obviously augmented reality is something that we're going to see take, the industry by storm. And so we have the blockchain to authenticate, but then, how is AR going to be utilized? So we saw the posters for the Artifact Nike Air Force Ones where you could scan the poster and it like has the demons or the robot or different items like to make the shoe transform. And so something you actually mentioned is like social media presence, like that's social currency, where if you're LeBron James and you actually take a Snapchat video of your shoes, that's going to like obviously show that you got like this badass pair of, shoes that nobody else can actually purchase. And so the AR technology really excites me because you also have the ability to incorporate these NFC chips with geofences. And so what I think about is if I have, the geofence for Artifact and I go to one of their brick, and mortar locations and I walk through the door and I'm wearing one of these pairs of shoes, well, perhaps with AR, this shelf that, is nothing to other people that are walking around in the store, it actually populates with a limited edition item that only, shoe holders or owners of the asset would actually be able to see. And so the token gated aspect of being able to have limited drops now just transcended from just digital to also like that augmented reality space with, the ability to have these near frequency chips, in my opinion. So, I mean, what do you think about the geofencing technology there?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got a lot of just like intriguing aspects because, like you're saying, if you hold an NFT and the geofence picks that up, and or you're wearing something and it picks that up from the NFC chip, and then allows you with your phone to see something that others can't, and maybe even gets you discounts or gets you, again, deals that maybe others cannot see. I think that just is wild to think about in the future, and I wonder how that will go, but I definitely see the AR aspect being a big part of that because social media, it just would make sense, because if you see skins on Fortnite, people are flashing what they got. So if you have a rare skin or a rare overlay, if you will, I think that's going to get some people going.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess with that question right there, and like how everyone's thinking about this space and how you can authenticate different shoes or apparel, different items that are high end fashion. For sneakerheads, how do you think this affects the value for shoes, and do you think that it'll matter for them on whether or not they actually acquire certain assets or not?
I think so. I think it's like kind of like in time, almost similar to how the internet when it first came out and people were like, oh, like that own businesses are like, oh, I don't need a website for my business, but now it's common practice that you almost have to. You literally should. If you don't, you should have a website for your business. And that's sort of I can see that same trend applying to these like that sort of culture, sneakerhead culture, where it just makes sense. Like again, if you can cut out the middleman, or I don't need to go through another person to authenticate these to get these from you, because that just sounds like a mess already. And I think that it's funny because I heard this chat the other day, and the speaker said, if you're asking a question about something, fast forward 100 years and think about like how you would think about what you're currently doing. And again, it seems odd then, right? That like we do have to do all these steps and processes to essentially get to this end goal of just transacting. I would like to buy these shoes from you. There you go. You know what I mean? So I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think that it'll be commonplace, honestly, for some of the higher end sneakers. If you don't have an NFC chip, in about 5 to 10 years, I don't think people even believe that they're real. Then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and NFC chips, I mean, we've already seen the actual cost of the item go down drastically. It's only going to get cheaper and cheaper for people to actually implement that technology into collectibles, shoes, shirts, whatever, item that they're sending out. So I think it's a no-brainer. I am really excited to see how the technology evolves. I think the Geofence and AR technology is where we're going to see things really develop over the next 3 to 5 years. And I'm really excited to go into brick and mortar locations and see how they kind of like make these a game for virality's sake of marketing. I mean, going into an Adidas store and being able to play an escape room to maybe get access to a limited edition drop is something that's really exciting. And I think that is the future of branding, marketing, and just how these NFC chips with the blockchain can really be utilized. So any final thoughts before we wrap this thing?
No, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, I'd ask everyone else that let me drop what you think the Nike Air Force One and Artifact collabs are going to be worth in 10 years from now down in the comments. Let me know what you think, and I'll be really interested to see what people say.
Me too. I mean, I got 2 pairs. I'm hoping big numbers down there, but yeah, like and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate you guys showing up every single week. And if you enjoyed this video, obviously like it, share it with your family and friends. Obviously, you want to learn about this technology. But yeah, that's it for this week, guys. We'll see you guys in next week's episode of Speculation Alley. Peace.